Shabbat Shalom. Come on in, find your seat. We're going to begin in the middle of page 344. Chadash 344. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. It is so good to have you here with us celebrating Shabbat, whether you are here in our sanctuary or whether you are streaming us online. And a special welcome this evening to our guests and our new members. We're so glad that you are here, that you are part of our temple family. And to everyone, if you see someone you don't know afterwards, say hello to them and welcome them. And maybe they'll tell you, I've been here 30 years. That's happened to me, but that's okay. We still, it's the spirit that counts. So we're just so glad that everyone is here with us tonight. This week in our Torah, we read Parsha Vayetze, which continues the story of Jacob. At this point in the story, Jacob has tricked his brother Esau out of his birthright and then fled his home. He falls asleep in the desert, where he has a famous dream in which angels ascend and descend a ladder that stretches up into heaven. He then hears God reaffirming the sacred covenant that began with Abraham and promising to always be present and to protect Jacob. When Jacob awakens from his dream, he exclaims, "Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh, va'anochi lo yadati." Surely God is in this place, and I did not know it. Inspired by Jacob's unexpected yet profound connection with God, for this Shabbat we've selected melodies and texts that have helped us to experience the divine throughout our Jewish journeys. Songs and texts that have created deep and memorable spiritual moments for us, moments of connection with something greater than ourselves. And we hope our service this evening will also prompt you to recognize holiness around and within. We continue on page 22.
So the first song we chose was Mizmor Shir, and the first time that I heard this song, make sure my mic is on. Is my mic on? Yes. The first time that I heard this song was at the most spiritual place that I can think of, which is summer camp. With no disrespect meant to any of our beautiful sanctuaries or chapels, but summer camp is where most of us of a certain generation discovered our connections to God. And so we open with Mizmor Shir and that connection to camp where we found ourselves and our connection to the Almighty.
Page 22. Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Lehagid baboker hastecha ve'emunacha baleilot alei yasod v'alei navel alei higayon bechinot Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon. I'd like to invite up Monique Miller and Josh Miller. Monique very generously contributes to the festivity and the decor of our monthly dinners, and Josh is a board member of our Temple 20s 30s group, and it's so great to have them both with us this evening. And we can join Monique and Josh on pages 2 and 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
Thank you, Monique and Josh. When Joellen and I were deciding which prayer we wanted to do between candles and Baruch, because that's how service planning discussions work, Joellen suggested the melody for Lecha Dodi by the contemporary Jewish composer Craig Taubman. And I chuckled a little bit at that, and then I had to tell her that my cantor used to call this particular melody the burlesque Lecha Dodi, and to which she also laughed and said her cantor had said the same exact thing and called it the burlesque or the vaudeville Lecha Dodi. And so we had a pretty, profound spiritual moment there, thinking about how cantors of two different generations used the same adjective to ascribe to this melody. So we're going to turn to page 20 and find God in unexpected places with our burlesque Lecha Dodi.
La 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha Yishmi'anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'likri la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem netzucha sof machaseh b'machshava tchila la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela Hi torevri ki va'orech umi uri shir daveri kevod Adonai alayf la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lecha dodi We rise in body or spirit and face the door to welcome Shabbat. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha uv'sola toch emunei am segula boi chala Dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekavela
Page 28. This is the melody for the Baruch that I grew up with, and every time I hear it, it transforms me back to my childhood sanctuary on a Friday night, a place that was always safe and comforting for me, and I've always enjoyed chanting this Baruch with different communities and trying to bring that feeling of consistency and spirituality with me with this melody.
Lai 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 lai
Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. read together at the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We continue on page 32 with Ahavat Olam, another one of my favorite melodies. This is by, of course, the legendary Debbie Friedman, who made Reformed Jewish worship what it is today, arguably. And whenever I'm leading with a guitarist, it's always difficult to request this melody because it's a little complicated, but Joellen agreed to indulge us with Ahavat Olam tonight. And the melody of this kind of reinforces the words. This is a prayer about the love between God and Israel through history, leading to ourselves. And to me, this melody just gives me a lot of those warm fuzzies, and very few other melodies reflect the content, I think, more than Debbie's Ahavat Olam. So we'll join together. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochmeinu, uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu. Negei yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. So I'm going to actually invite you to be seated at this moment. Usually it is our custom to stay standing for Shema, but in different congregations, especially in the Reform world, whether we rise or are seated for Shema depends. So we're going to try being seated for Shema today, or letting you all figure out if you'd rather be standing or seated, what feels more connected to you, because we're going to offer a special version of Shema this evening, which is in your prayer handout.
So not to bring everything back to youth, when I was a Nifty regional advisor, one of the proudest things that we ever did was we recorded a CD of music. The CD was titled Shirei Halev, Songs of the Heart. And after our winter regional convention, we all went from Orlando, from the Rosen Center, to Tampa, and rented a recording studio. And this is one of the songs that is on that recording. We got permission. This is a Doug Kotler tune called Listen. And if you are so moved, one of the things, we actually talked about this in Wisdom, one of the things about prayer is midrash. So I taught my students in the past, listen to our God as one of the ways to kind of connect to this prayer. And to this day, and I don't know if any of them tuned in, I let some people know that we would be singing this song tonight because they ask me every time they see me if I would play this song.
And at the end of the English lyrics will be our Shema. So when the English lyrics are finished, we invite you to rise if you are so inclined, or stay seated if that feels more meaningful to you.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen to our God.
Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all your might. Write them and learn them and teach them well. Every morning and night, close your eyes and listen.
Quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way and just listen to our God. When the wind and thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you can hear if you listen to our God.
You can hear it from the top of the highest hill, or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Valechuto Leolam. Listen to our God. Listen to our God.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen.
Please be seated. Page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. During the story of our people's journey from slavery in Egypt to redemption and freedom, we see the Israelites connecting with God in a few different ways. In Mi Chamocha, the words they sang as they crossed the Red Sea that we continue to sing, who is like you, God, Norah Tehilot Osefele, mean, who is like you, awesome in splendor, creating wonders. The root of the word Norah, as in Norah Tehilot, has multiple meanings in Hebrew. It can be translated as awesome, meaning full of fear and dread. The Israelites did not know God or why God was suddenly reaching out to free them from Pharaoh. They were frightened of God's power, acting out of trepidation and wondering what God was expecting from them. But Norah can also be translated as awesome, meaning awe-inspiring. The Israelites have seen displays of God's power and then celebrated their freedom. Once they were on the other shore of the sea, away from Pharaoh's army, they knew that they had witnessed a miracle. Like our ancestors, we might feel changing and evolving emotions when it comes to God based on our own experiences. The Mi Chamocha is a reminder to take a step back and celebrate the wonders of our lives. By participating in our services and singing these ancient words, despite all of the reasons to fear in our world, we are nevertheless joining together in community, the next links in the chain keeping our tradition alive through the timeless sentiment in this prayer. We celebrate our freedom on page 40. La 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Norah Tehilot Techara uvanecha, okei ayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam. Ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Page 42. A way of relating to God that is continued to evolve for me is being vulnerable. God doesn't have answers. We don't pray to God to resolve our questions or come up with solutions to our lives. But it is a oldest time Jewish principle that doubt and wondering and questioning is a way of coming closer to God and a way of finding holiness in our struggles. Sometimes our relationship with the divine means that we put ourselves out there, that we acknowledge our own mortality and our own challenges, yet we know that we're not alone in those challenges. It is always meaningful for me to contemplate asking God to spread over us a shelter of peace, even if it's a peace that only lasts for this hour of our Shabbat evening. We read together in the middle of page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Page 46.
When we think about everything before this being a warm-up of being ready to pray, I always loved this Taubman Adonai Sifatai, because we always used to start out slow and then it used to build and build and build and literally propel people to their feet. So as we get ready to pray the Amidah, you can start out slow if you want to, and when you're ready, you will be able to rise, and then when we're all together, we'll move on to the central portion of our service. Anananananana Adonai. Anananananana Svatai Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Anananananana Adonai. Ananananana Svatai Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ananananana Ananananana Svatai Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ananananana Adonai.
Ananana svatai tifta. Ananana ufi yagid. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'konei Hakol V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot U'mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Baal Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Memit Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'nemanata lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh Ukdoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. We read together in the middle of page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, sha'otcha levadcha be'yira na'avod. Page 60.
Many of you know that my father of blessed memory was a rabbi, and I grew up in a synagogue similar to others of my generation that was classical form and inching towards modernity. And for me, and I'll speak only for me, there was times that I sat in that sanctuary and felt so disconnected from God. And it was the let you figure that one out. That Debbie Friedman and Jeff Klepper and Danny Friedlander started writing music that all of a sudden made prayer accessible to me. And we moved from cantors, who I have incredible respect for, being the vessels of my prayer to allowing me to pray on my own. And the first song that I remember that allowed me to say, wait, hey, I am an active participant in prayer was Jeff Klepper and Danny Friedlander's Shalom Rav. So we chose that one for tonight, and we hope that you'll sing with us.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We take a moment for our own personal prayers. On page 62 are the words of Yehiyu L'Ratzon, which is a really powerful prayer because coming out of the Amidah, as Joellen said, the main prayer portion of our service, and coming out of our own personal prayers, we ask God for our words and the meditations of our heart to be acceptable to us, which is a very kind of humbling idea to ask God that for us to be enough, for us to be meaningful in our lives, and for us to have our prayers for peace come true. And the melody that we're going to sing for this prayer is similar to Joellen. One of the first prayers that I can remember singing on my own for the first time. If I think about my first Jewish memories, this melody comes into play in that scene. And it's another scenario where the melody echoes the meaning. The simple and straightforward and pure melody really invites us to open up to whatever God we're talking to, whatever God we believe in, and to just say, let me be enough, may I be enough. Yehiyu L'Ratzon Imrei Fi V'Hegyon Libi Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Vegoali Yehiyu L'Ratzon Imrei Fi V'Hegyon Libi Lefanecha As we do on every Shabbat, we take a moment to pray for healing and turn to page 253. When we're talking about prayers for healing, I can't help but think about my time as a chaplain intern at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, where I did a summer-long clinical pastoral education course, and then I spent the next school year continuing to develop my skills working with palliative care patients. And one of the most powerful lessons I learned throughout that really meaningful and intense year was that presence is a lot. I would go into the room of people who had no family, who were towards the end of their lives, and they couldn't even respond to me, but just sitting there, maybe reading them some psalms or talking to them, to be able to do that and to accompany someone during that moment was just so profound. And along with that time, I was doing training to kind of think about my experiences and how they related to theology. And I learned that God sits with us in our pain, that God cries with us at the bedside, that God dwells within us and around us in moments of loneliness and hurt. And sometimes it's definitely hard to feel that way. It's hard to kind of, be optimistic and feel like there's something or someone accompanying you if you feel so alone. But it's really powerful to think about God not only with us in the good times, but also in the times of brokenness. And that when we're broken, that allows space for God to come in and to be present with us and to share our emotions and our experiences. And so sometimes when we pray for healing, that doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to get well, but we pray for healing to pray for comfort and to pray for strength during trying times. And that's why we also pray for healing, not only physical healing, but healing of our mind and our spirit as well, which I think is an ongoing process, so we can all find healing. This Shabbat, our congregation is praying for Carol Babcock, Vera Benjamin, Canterbury, Jim Brady, Howard Sherwin, Pauline Sherwin, Ann DePaul, Susan Derby, Helene Edwards, Muriel Fields, Jane Ford, Beverly Fruit, Rabbi Bob Goodman, Marilyn Goodman, Mary Hartman, Robert Kay, Gary Mass, David Osofsky, Laura Osofsky, Bert Peters, Sarah Penshaw, Buddy Pollock, Ron Papel, Jean Posen, Sean Quinlan, Ron Rappaport, Sandra Resnikoff, Devora Batrachel, Michelle Jurgen Rosenthal, Sid Siegel, Ruthie Silver, Nicholas Sobek, Judy Van Gorder, Mark Weig. If you have names to share, please do so as I look around the room. David. We continue with the Misha Barach. help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. As we this evening contemplate encountering God in both expected and unexpected places, one of my favorite texts came to mind, which I want to share with you. This is a text that I learned while I was in rabbinical school that has been really influential in my own spirituality. The great sage, Martin Buber, tells the following story. Once, Rabbi Pinchas of Koretz heard about the great misery of the needy. He listened, sunken in sadness, and then he lifted his head and exclaimed, "Let us draw God into the world, and everything will be settled." But the philosopher asks, is it possible to draw God into the world? Is it not a presumptuous and impudent fantasy? How dare a lowly earth dweller engage in what rests exclusively in God's grace? How much of God's self will God grant to God's creation? His answer: God wishes to come into the world, but wishes to do so through humans. The mystery of our existence is that humankind does have the superhuman potential. And Martin Buber continues, Rabbi Mendel of Kotsk surprised several learned men who were his guests with the question, "Where is God's dwelling?" They replied with laughter, "What are you saying? Is not the entire world full of God's glory?" But he answered his own question. God dwells wherever one lets God in. If God dwells wherever we let God in, it means that God could be all around us.
I am all around in every daydream. I am all you are and all you know. I am all around. I heard his voice say, I am all you are and all you know. Never far away, I'm on your side. His voice went on to say, here's how you know. See me in the sunny mornings, like the clouds I'm high above. I have filled your days with laughter and your heart with love. Wanting to believe this voice inside me, trust there's something there for me to hold. I know I'm not alone with all these feelings history has shown, and we've been told. Can you hear the children singing? Don't you feel their spirit? Surely God is with me always, but I did not know.
במקום הזה אנוכי לא ידעתי, אכן יש אדוני. במקום הזה ואנוכי לא ידעתי.
When you struggle for your freedom, I'm right there close at hand. All in all, the world gets better
turn to page 282 and rise in body or spirit for Aleinu. Page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those who our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. During the period of Shiva, the week following death, we remember Cantor Guy Bonet, a classmate of Canterbury's. During the period of Shloshim, the month following death, we remember Philip Bloom, Janice Hayflick, Mark Kallman, Nancy Fink Leeds, and Audrey Rifkin. And at the Yortzeit, the anniversary of death, we remember Herman H. Bloom, Reba Lazarus Borman, Ada Buckholtz, Philip Nathans Coleman, Samuel Cutler, Mamie Eisen, Alfred Feinglass, Jill Friedman Fixler, Ethel Frayden, Sandra Frieder, Harry Gerbert, Sandy Greenhut, Morley Gwartzman, Robert Hammer, Arnold A. Harrison, Arthur Hirsch, Dr. Marshall Horowitz, Max Isaac, Edith Kessler, Florence S. Kidder, Jack Cobrin, Sarah Cobrin, Ethel Werther Korn, Orville Kaur, Wilma Langle, Ada Leedy, Arnold L. Lefkowitz, Alvin Levine, Mildred E. Meyer, George Miller, Theodore Miller, Sarah Moscow, Roberta Phillips, Irma Rothstein, Rebecca Schindel, Shirley Seitlin, Joel Selber, Bernard J. Shane Brown, Mark Shamban, Phyllis Vandroff, Jacob Wolf, Kelsey Leah Young, Alexander Wolf. If you have a name you'd like to share of someone you're remembering this evening, please do so as I look around the room. Thanks. For the names we heard aloud and those who are with us forever, we turn to page 294 and rise for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yiruteh ve'amlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mivarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shmei dekudasha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories always be for a blessing. Please be seated as we invite up James Lawson, a member of our Executive Committee and Board of Trustees, to share some announcements.
First, let me thank the Rabbi and Joellen for a wonderful and inspiring service tonight. I think we would all agree with that. Tomorrow morning, Joellen will lead both Torah study at 9 a.m. and Shabbat morning minyan at 10:30. Sunday, we have TIR and Parent and Me Playdate beginning at 9 a.m., followed by Sisterhood's Hanukkah sale and a Judaica shop at 9:30 a.m. After the gift shop sale ends at 1 p.m., you can join Sisterhood in welcoming Tal Molah, our new community shlikah, to temple with Israeli snacks and refreshments. Rabbi Bob Goodman will lead wisdom on Tuesday at 10:30. We have two exciting adult ed programs happening in a few weeks. On Monday, December 12 at 7 p.m., Coach Danny Hertz will present an entertaining session of life lessons from the Ted Lasso series. I think our president is inspired by the Lasso program. Is that correct, Madam President? On Thursday, December 15 at 8 p.m., the Institute of Southern Jewish Life will host an online musical celebration with performer Hava Murrell. Please take a look at Temple Times for more information. Please continue to read your weekly Temple email for more information on mitzvah meals and more, holiday gift-giving program, and all upcoming Temple events. Our own egg tonight will be in the front vestibule. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, James. And one more thing, outside you will see a giant sparkly bulletin board. I think there's still a few names on there. There are foster children who Jewish Family and Community Service gives us their names and wish lists so that we can provide gifts for them for the holiday season. So if there are still names up there, I hope there are not by the time everyone leaves after the Oneg, but please consider taking a name or two and buying some gifts for children. You have a couple weeks to purchase the gifts unwrapped and then bring them back here so that we can get them to these kids for the holidays. So we really appreciate it. I think there are a few of you in this room. If you are a past president of this congregation, will you come help us lead Kiddush and Motzi? I know who you are. I mean, I'm looking at you.
I know who you are too.
There's a couple. Well, there's one, there's two. Dr. E. Come on up. We're never letting you guys leave, so yeah. Please join us on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho Be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikraye kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta Ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim Ve'shabbat Ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim, Ruthie. I think it's safe to drink. Yeah, it's okay. And we join all together in Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Thank you, past presidents. You're amazing. You can take as much as the kids do if you want. It's fine. We're going to conclude on page 321 with a very nostalgic Adon Olam that I think many of us relate to, maybe kids' services, or when we were kids we sang it. But I think it's good for all ages and a joyful ending to our service this evening.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol, let's hear Nivra, V'yeit Nasa V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kichot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hoveh, Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yeit Nasa V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'hu Echad Ve'ein Sheni, Lehamshilo Lehachbira Adon Olam, Ve'li Reishi, Ve'li Tachlit, Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'hamizra Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yeit Nasa V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'hu Eli, V'chai Goali, L'tzor Chevli B'yeit Tzara Adon Olam, Ve'hu Nisi Umanos Li, L'nakrosi B'yom Ekra Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yeit Nasa V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, B'yado Apkid Ruchi, B'yeit Ishan Be'ayira Adon Olam, Ve'im Ruchi Geviati, Adonai li v'lo ira Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yeit Nasa V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah. Thanks, Stephen.
So Adam sent me my Apple Watch, which I'm so excited.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I realized I have to turn on an airplane mode because it like kept going off, and I'm like, oh crap.
Theater mode.
Yeah.
You know that one, right? Like the masks. It's
I was like, oh my gosh. Oops. Yeah. Agree. Oh my god.
You're so funny.
I'm so glad you said something because now I look at you and I know it's you. I'm gonna walk right past you. Oh my gosh, are you coming out to LA? We're gonna eat some cookies. Okay, I'm gonna put this stuff away and I'll come on mushrooms. Awesome, so good to see you. Oh my god, you're a girl. Yeah. So. can take it off again. And you don't have to. Oh, no. The breastplate and the aphod that's for the dressing, and the crown, and you see different designs and different things on them. That's usually on Saturday mornings. They also there. Oh yeah, they come out and you know how they put some Torah, which is the celebration of Torah, the beginning of Torah at Saturday. And they take all the Torah scrolls out and they create them all. It's really cool. Sometimes they unroll it around the entire perimeter of the sets. Beautiful. That's in October. Or September. Yeah, you missed it this year. It's part of our holidays. Yeah, no, totally. Totally. It's called Simchat Torah. If you research or whatever, you can always call the temple office. Rabbi can help you. I can help you. All the people are really knowledgeable if there's like background information. But there's nothing in this that is antithetical to your faith system. Your faith system took it a step farther. We believe the Messiah is still not present, right? And we believe that it's come and is coming back, right? So it's very much in line with what but you're welcome anytime. And then we make you eat, which is very Jewish. So there's cookies and fruit and stuff out in the lobby. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to go put my stuff away and join you out in the lobby.